It's also for all the underdogs, the forgotten ones that feel like life in the world is against them, the lonely kids with no parents, the foster kids, the orphans, the neglected, the abused. And that's the sentence that you're really referring to. And that sentence is simply me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say was...
Yeah, I'm happy that you pulled that out of there because that comes from my life that I lived.
Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
Welcome to another episode of Your Peak Life podcast. Today we got a special episode. We're going to deep dive on Mike Little's book, Conquer the Summit of Life, 5 Principles to Live at the Pinnacle Personally and Professionally. So we've all read the book. We're hoping that you also subscribe and download the book, but we're going to kind of deep dive and get some feedback from Mike and see what's next for Mike. So starting off, good morning, Mike.
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
It's just cool to do something that's not real estate.
Yeah.
It's like all we talk about is work. That to me isn't work. It's putting my thoughts out to the world. So thank all of you guys for coming in on a Sunday morning, first of all, to shoot this. Thanks for reading it. Thanks for coming to the event. But I'm really here to answer the questions that y'all threw my way. So who's going first?
Kick it off.
Well, here, I'll just ask a simple one. One that kind of like, because I knew you then, right? You said at 36 years old is when you kind of found your why.
Yeah, 100%.
And it was like, was there a moment when it was like an aha moment?
Yeah,
after
man.
that thinking?
It's funny because today's July 7th. I posted something this morning. So today last year, I found out my dad died. Right after that, if you guys didn't notice, I started going fucking ape shit. Like, as far as work, because that's what I do when this is fucked up. Eric knows that for sure. I slept on his couch while I was going through my divorce. You know what I'm saying? So he saw me at my worst. Now he gets to see me at my best. But I'm sure you all noticed that after that happened, and after I hired Kathy, and then I hired Coach Burt, and then it was like I met my grandpa as a result of that, and that was really, meeting him was the catalyst to like, I got to put a book out and I need to speak because he deserves to see that. You know, that's how I feel.
I would say I think that for me, from looking at just from us being together every day, I think your grandfather played a major part. Like once you met him and once you understood that, hey, you know, I have a line of real estate professionals.
It's in my blood.
And educators. Correct?
I never knew that. So, you know, that's not in this book, but when you go meet a man that's 85 years old, you've never met him in your life. His son, who's your dad, didn't raise you, right? So I don't know any of this shit. I go sit down with him with my wife. The reason I'm there is a real estate conference, first of all. And then we sit down with this man and, like, first of all, he tried to save his son many times. Poured years and money into him and tried to get him to get better or whatever. Didn't happen, but he's running his business, living with his wife in Arizona, but his business happened to be real estate. Absolutely crazy. He ran Central Arizona Realty Educators Schoolhouse. He was also a writer and a speaker. He owned a title company. So I learned all these things, and I'm like, damn, maybe that's why I'm so fucking good at this shit. I don't know. It's crazy. I'd like to think it was my hard work, but now I have to believe a little bit that it has something to do with genetics. You know what I mean? Like,
Speaking of genetics, your future looks like Santa Claus. Looking at your graph.
I know, man, 100%. My wife said the same thing. But, you know, it was super cool I sent him and his wife copies of my book, you know. All
Nice.
my kids got signed copies of my book. Like, my sisters bought my book. I didn't even get a chance to send it to them. Like, so it's really more for them. If you read the dedication, it's for them. Because, like, they don't have the opportunity that I have built here as a result of my 14 years in the Navy, because that's really what happened, right?
Yeah.
I transplanted here to get away from everything, met good people, latched on to good people, learned skills, and then began to teach other people skills. That's why I'm successful. But I didn't know that it was in a field that apparently my grandpa killed for, 30 plus years. So, and now, he's older. I found out where he's at, medically. And then it was just kind of like, I got to put a show on for him, bro, till he goes. Because he never had that. Imagine dealing with the pain for, almost 40 years that your son can't get right. You don't have a relationship with any of your grandchildren as a result of that. You're a super successful businessman, husband, educator, all these things. But for him, I'm sure in the fatherhood department, he felt some type of way.
Yep.
So, my note to him was very like, your son's life was not in vain kind of thing.
So like since the day I met you, you've been going through some shit, and perseverance and conquer the summit of life is one of the chapters, I believe chapter 4. And where did you get that throughout your life?
I know I mentioned, I think now that I met my grandpa, probably some of that comes from him. But also, I think it really just comes from my childhood, man. Like, no dad, foster care, then you meet your dad, then you find out you're living in a trap house and he's the drug ring ace and he goes to prison. Like, like that's by age 12, okay? Then you send me to visit my mother who tries to steal me. I think she's doing good. She's actually living in a halfway house. My dad's ex-wife comes and gets custody of me from my biological mother in a commonwealth. My dad's in prison. Do you know how fucked up your mom has to be for your father who's in prison's testimony to even account towards a case hearing?
And win. Yep.
And win? Yeah. So I'm 13 at that point. Like, all I know is perseverance, bro. And that same dude calls me and says, oh, you let my wife get with another man, bitch boy. Like, this dude did not raise me. He taught me how to cook crack, weigh it, bag it, lift weights, and chase women. He taught me all that in one summer. Other than that, he's a piece of shit. But it doesn't matter because he's gone. And today's the anniversary of his death. So that's perseverance. Like, I can't, I don't know, man. You can't give that to somebody else. You can't, like, define that in words. Like,
isn't it weird? Well, isn't it weird that something like that, you'd still remember the anniversary of his death? Somebody who didn't really raise you?
I mean, but that's because you spend 35 years hoping that one day you can cultivate that relationship. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But then you realize, like, you really can't. Yeah. And it's not your fault. But that's why I say, like, I found my purpose. My purpose was never to be in the Navy. It was never to just sell houses. It's actually to be the beacon of light and the hope for my sisters, for Kim, the woman that adopted me and took me on as her own son, for my children and for my wife and for my family, and for the 300 plus people that are under us, right? Like, so, but my purpose isn't the sales, it's not the money, it's impacting lives. And I find that more and more, the further we go, you see a LJ or a Julian become an owner, or even you guys becoming owners and becoming brokers, or Jama becoming an owner and a broker, or how many team leads at this point, or how many people went from selling nothing to being top producers and changing their lives, buying their dream homes, their dream cars, going on vacations with their families. That's what I'm supposed to do. Edwin, you asked me a crazy question. It was like 3 months ago in the car. You said, Mike, how many millionaires have you made? My response was, I don't know, because I've never made that the priority. Is your life better? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking to a man who had nothing, went and got it all, had it taken from him, and then went and did that shit again. And even after that, we had to kick an original partner out. I took my ex-wife back 3 times. I've been through hell and back. Had a little spout where I was like, just fuck the world. I'm going to just sit in my house and huddle in the corner, sell these houses and build these companies, and whatever is supposed to come to me will come to me. And that has proven to work out pretty well, man. When you stop blaming other people, when you stop drinking your problems away, I quit smoking cigarettes. Self-development really is the answer. That's the true answer. When the Navy was fucking with me, man, you had to reflect like, damn, who really put who in this position? Why am I here? How do I get out of it when my back's really against the wall, right? Like, you go down to the chief's mess or chief and come up a second class and you can't leave the ship and go sell a house and you can't live in the You know, I had $1.2 million worth of property when I was 28 years old. I couldn't live in any of it. You know how fucking crazy that is? You're fighting a Virginia Beach cop. You're fighting the Navy. You're like, you know, bro, I had no money. I had nowhere to live. I'm sleeping on his couch. This is after I left all that childhood behind, crushed the Navy for 14 years, been building my real estate business for a decade. It all just came crumbling down. But they just didn't understand, man. Like the skipper of that ship, Putnam Brown, at my captain's mast, non-judicial punishment, if y'all don't know, you can Google it. He stated, we're going to see what your metal's made of. And I'm telling you, bro, I left that room laughing. When I went to my DRB with 60 Master Chiefs in the room, I didn't even flinch. You're all a fucking joke. Because the military don't make you tough, bro. The military is for rejects and people that couldn't fucking make it. What are we talking about? Acting like you're better than everybody else in the country because you volunteered for a paycheck is crazy. Demanding respect for something that you willingly went and signed up for, in my head, is fucking insane. And then you don't know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Like, fuck that, man. The commanding officer of an aircraft carrier looked probably his best chief petty officer on the fucking ship in the eye and said, oh, I'm going to see what your metal's made of, and had no evidence in his fucking hand. Not knowing that you're talking to an orphan, a homeless kid, somebody that grew up fucking slinging crack rocks and fighting for fun. It's just different, man. You can't explain that hunger. You can't explain the perseverance because most people are fucking pussies. Clowns. Everybody want to throw hands till you stand the fuck up. Everybody want to argue until you say, okay, it's go time. Like, this generation is soft. Perseverance is probably a product of your environment, and mine happened to be a very, very, very rough one. So, you know, I think the baby blues and the way I act sometimes might fool people. But, you know, there's a reason I'm passionate, and there's a reason that I'm serious, because I don't have time to fucking play with you. What we got, 80 years maybe? I got shit to do. If you're offended, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
facts.
It's just fucking crazy, man, because, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm watching all these guys go viral, and I see all these bestsellers. Yeah, that's what really happened. I started getting in rooms, and I was like, these resumes, they're not that great. My story's phenomenal. I can articulate that, and I keep receipts, bro. I have receipts for everything. That's what changed my life last year. I went to Ohio to go to my father's funeral, and, you know, my mom died of a heroin overdose as well. I didn't handle that well when I was 30. I just got out of the Navy. Nobody was really there to help me but Eric. And it was really like, fuck the world, bro. Eric would take me out to a club, bro. I would sit in a corner and just stare at everybody like I wanted, like a serial killer. Ask him, bro. I wouldn't even talk to.
It was weird.
Listen,
it was like,
bro.
this is my wingman?
Yeah, no wingman. No, I wasn't there for that. Like, it was crazy. I would ignore women. I would tell them to leave me alone. Eric would tell me, oh, this chick was, I don't care, bro. I couldn't, like, at that moment in time in my life, I felt like a failure. Like, are you shitting me? I left all that behind and went and built all this, and now it's all gone. What do I do? Well, step one was to take some ownership, accountability, responsibility, reflect on myself, make myself better, concentrate on my, my relationship with my children, and that snowballed up into, oh, well, now my dad's gone, so instead of handling it like a fucking child, I handled it with my true character, and I went home. I paid for the funeral. I gave the fucking eulogy. We even called the VA and got him a 21-gun salute for his little half-assed 2 years of service. Like, that's another thing. Oh, yeah, did 20 years, did 25 years, did this, did that. I did more in 14 years than people that do 30. Over a decade. Ship's company, 4 aircraft carriers, 5 life cycles. I'm not hearing it. I'm not impressed. Stop. It doesn't make you better than people. It definitely doesn't get you ready to come out here and do this. So, it's a luxury. You should appreciate guys like us that pay taxes at a high level that provide your paycheck. And please go vote, because your president's dumb as fuck.
He's going to die next cycle. He ain't making it.
Like, Yeah, man. I'm sorry. You getting me fucking fired up, dude. But like when I write on here that this is 35 years of pain, grit, resilience, and shit like that, like that's real. This isn't a fucking game for me.
Well, part of it, part of what you write in there also is patience and putting yourself in those rooms.
Yep.
I mean, it takes time. So like,
Well,
in the short span I've met you, you've done a lot. Like, that's some patience.
So
it's been years though.
But the patience piece is I wasn't always patient. Eric, what was it like when we first started, man? What was I like when I first got out of the Navy?
It was kind of miserable.
Always negative, always fucking somebody else is the problem, always. Now, I'm much more reserved. I know when to bite my tongue, usually. I know the business at such a level that nothing really shakes me, you know? And
I think that's all learning, though, as we get older, as we leave and transition.
Well, and everything that we've been through.
Right.
I mean, when you look at partners coming and going, or employees coming and going, or agents coming and going, man, like you grow a very thick skin to the bullshit, you know? And quite frankly, it's just like the Navy. That's all real estate. This is all politics, bro. The only difference between me and most people doing it at the level that I'm doing it is I'm not going to really politic. like I'm not going to feed you bullshit. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to hide behind a curtain. I'm not going to, I don't know. The biggest thing has always been, oh, it's your delivery. Okay, well, I've been working on it now for a year. And now I'm a certified public speaker, a coach, and an author. So are we still going to discuss delivery?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's really what it is. When people critique you and you're just already so much like, I don't want to say better than them, but developed. And it's just like, stop critiquing me,
More
bro.
experience.
Why? What makes you think that you're qualified to speak to me in that fashion?
Well, also,
Like-
you say it at the end there. It's like, it's cool. You put all the principles out. Execute.
Correct. And use them in that order.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, they're in that order for a reason. Purpose, passion, patience, perseverance, position. Because your positioning only comes after you get through all that shit, right? But for me, I had to reflect when I went through that shit with the Navy. Yo, this really isn't my passion. The Navy's really not my passion. I was just good at it, and it was convenient. It was very easy to outperform everyone in my vicinity, not even trying most of the time. That's the fact. Same thing I do in this realm. 18-hour day is not hard to me. I don't know. Like showing up to 4 events in a day and showing a house and then playing with my kids, to me, that's a phenomenal day. That's not a work day. Like,
It's living your peak life.
100%.
Yeah.
But I chose to go where my passion was. And my passion was real estate. Truly helping people, helping them make a lot of money. I knew that, you know, financial freedom lied in real estate. So, and the Navy kind of sucked my passion for them out of me when they put me through what they put me through, man. And some self-reflection. Yes, I put myself in that position. But I also got out of it. And I came out better, right? So that was a catalyst. And then I've always been passionate, but now I'm operating in my actual purpose while being passionate. Like, that's the pinnacle. Like, that's what I found through my journey was, you know, if you're upset about going to work every day, stop. If you don't love who you're doing, what you're doing, stop.
Yes.
If you miss your family, stop. Yeah, like, because I made Chief first time up, and people always ask me how. I'll tell you how. I sacrificed my entire fucking life for the United States Navy. That's how. And then they shit in my face.
Well, in retrospect,
I'll never do it again.
he tested your metal, and you came out better for it.
Yeah,
I mean, so
100%.
you know, I look at people like that.
It was a corny statement to me. Like
Well,
you
a
don't
lot
know me,
of
man.
times that hit the deepest are those kind of statements that change your mindset immediately.
Yeah. So I guess I could say, thank you, I owe you.
No,
You know?
I wouldn't say I owe you,
Yeah, you
but you
don't
could say
owe
thank
anybody.
you.
Yeah.
Well, and then
You know?
another perspective is, you know, I did 23 years in the Navy, right? And a lot of myself, my perspective, I couldn't fathom being in a circle like I have now. It wasn't a reality to me because I've never been exposed to it. I never been exposed to people operating at a super high level because it wasn't required, right? Like those people who I served with, I had tons of high operating individuals, but it was because we had a job to do.
Right.
Here, when you're an entrepreneur, there's no one that's calling you to tell you to come to work, or there's no kind of accountability when you're at the top.
Yeah. You need intrinsic motivation.
Correct.
Like you have to have a drive. But I was saying all that to get to your point of the patience. It took me that 14 years in the Navy and going through a divorce and 4 different firms before I opened my own, and failed business partnerships, and, pumping money in repeatedly to a company that we made mistakes in, to now be at the position we're in, right? All of those things taught me patience. Dealing with my divorce taught me patience. Dealing with my custody battle taught me patience. Fighting the Navy for 9 months every single day taught me patience. Like, all of those things taught me when to shut up, when to speak up, when to compile data and evidence, when not to, when it's important, when it isn't. Kicking out an original partner from a company that's on pace to be number 1 in the marketplace in less than 5 years, that's not an easy task. Compiling that data, going through, dealing with all these attorneys, like dealing with the JAG, like all of these things taught me patience, man. And really, probably my first chief in the Navy, Jeff Cook, he said it best. He said, "You need to understand something, young man. The wheels of justice move slow. If you've done wrong, the people around you will make it painful. Even if you haven't, because sometimes they just want to look good." I have so many nuggets from people over so many different places with so many life experiences. From age 3 to age 17, I'm going to talk to psychologists every damn week. Always in a custody battle, always changing addresses, always changing schools. Like, you can't give that resilience and grit to somebody. That's earned. That's experience. There is no replacement for that. But all of those things taught me patience. Standing in chow line on an aircraft carrier, bro. You ever waited 3 hours to eat when you're starving?
With greasy ass hands.
You ever waited
Yes.
6 hours? You ever waited 6 hours to piss in a cup while your bladder's about to explode? All of those things will teach you patience. You ever been performing as the number 1 early promote in a command and been given an MP and told, you're young? Those things will teach you patience. And every single person that's going to watch this and hear everything I said, the thing is, I have receipts, and they all know it's true. Like, there's humans that could attest to every single statement I make here. You know what I'm saying? Like that, and that's where it's different. I'm not selling somebody a pile of bullshit. Everything that I'm talking about is going to be real. It's going to be genuine. It's going to be verifiable. I have nothing to lie about or hide.
Being in your life now, I can say, just knowing you personally, that what you experienced at an early age, from when you were born to prior to the Navy, I think those experiences, like, I don't think anything that can happen to you after you were 17 that would be more
I was
major.
built for war.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Before that point. But my question is to you. I can see why nothing breaks you. I can see that. Obviously, I'm around you every day. But what advice would you give to someone who doesn't have a major event or something just significant to give them? So many times we hear something happened, it changed my mindset, right? A traumatic event.
So maybe it doesn't have to be traumatic, right?
Okay.
So let's say this exact time last year, I went to my first Glover U event. Well, it was June last year, but I went to my first Glover U event, right? To see Andy get hired as a coach and to watch Ed Milet speak, because he's one of my favorite speakers and authors. But sometimes you're not in control, man. I went in that room. I don't do anything half-assed, so I bought a VIP ticket, right, all the way. I'm going all the way. That's how I do it. I hired Coach Burke. Give me the 12-month residence, 20 racks, boom. Like, I want to go all the way. I don't want to do any of this low-level shit. Give me your top coach. I want business mastery. I don't want sales, right? But that happened because I was sitting next to Kathy in the crowd, and Ed moved me with his speech, the I'm the One speech. I mean, it applies to a lot of people, but it really, really applies to me, right? But she made me feel like I was in a safe space that day. I ended up hiring her that day. And after watching Ed speak is when I really started thinking, I'm just as passionate as he is. I am. I'm just articulate as he is. I have a story that could be told just as good, if not better. What am I doing? Why am I letting my potential go to the wayside while I help everybody else around me? And then when I chose to hire Kathy, the coaching started paying off for us as a firm. So I was like, well, I've always wanted to write. I've always wanted to tell my story. Again, there's people watching that can tell you that. I told Troy Peterson on the Harry S. Truman 15 years ago that my story would be heard one day. People laughed at me. Now people wake up and wait to hear from me. So fuck you. Because you didn't know. People didn't know. People don't know. They always want to like assume or judge or have a preconceived notion. Listen to me, man. You know of me. You don't fucking know me.
Well, most people
like there's a difference.
Yeah. Well, most people probably don't know Mike Little.
No, they know of you. That's exactly what I was just saying. Like everybody in today's day and age is going to concoct an opinion of you based on the internet. You need to meet somebody. You need to look them face to face in the eye. You need to shake their hand. And you probably need to ask some people about that individual. It's called vetting. You ever hired an employee, you call the previous employer and get a recommendation. You should do the same thing with people that you're going to talk shit about in your life. You got to be real careful the enemies you make. Because some of us don't talk. We just do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we spent every day worried about what everybody's saying or what they think or how they feel, we would not be where we are. We wouldn't be going where we're going. But for those people that need that, man, all they have to do is get in a room. They need to travel. They need to meet new people. They need to see people doing bigger things. They need to hear people's stories. They need to know that life isn't all sunshine and rainbows, and you're going to need some resilience and some mental toughness to get where you're trying to go. If you want to do something big. I mean, if you don't, that's fine. You can live a mediocre life. I just don't choose to do that. And it's okay if you do. I'm not saying that you can't. But if you want bigger and better, you need to live a little life. That's where my advantage is, right? You said it. From my childhood just until the Navy, my amount of life experience in 17 years could rival somebody's entire life. You know what I'm saying? Like, then you sprinkle 14 years of military service, where I went from an undesignated airman to a chief petty officer and traveled the world 4 fucking times and served with 20,000 different people. Then I come out here and open 10 different businesses and work with hundreds and thousands of other people. Like, that's a lot of life. That's a lot of experience. That's a lot of things to take place and happen, you know? Yeah. I'm 36, man.
Yeah, I think, you know, getting in the rooms for me was probably the biggest wake-up call. Because prior to, you know, getting exposed or getting into different rooms, in my mind, I wanted to be the first uber successful Puerto Rican realtor, right? Right? Like in my mind, I'm like, bro, there's nobody like me. Lies. It was like the furthest from the truth, right? Like when I started going around top producers, I'm like, oh shit, there's a whole lot of Hispanic top producers. Let me shut the fuck up, right? Like, but I didn't know. Right? Like, you know what I mean?
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know until you get into these rooms, right? And I think that is ultimately what I would, you know, give someone advice. Hey, listen, if you are operating.
Exposure, man.
Yeah, you're operating. If you feel you're at the top of your game, you're probably not in the right rooms.
100%. So, Coach Michael Burt from Tennessee, my writing and speaking coach, I mean, that's basically it. Is you got to get in the room, and what he says is, you know, if you could be a level 10 person, do you feel like you're operating at like a level 4? You know what I mean? And if you want to operate at that next level, you have to be around people that are doing that. It's the only way to go there. It's the only way to get there, man. Like, when you really think about it, that's why you guys came here, right? That's why Eric and I get coached by people like Ryan Serhan, Kathy Schweitzer, and Jeff Glover, right? That's why you became a certified instructor under Glover U. That's why you guys sit in on the coaching calls on Friday, because it works. These people have experience. Close the gap. Why would I sit around wondering what to do when I have access to somebody who's done it for as long as I've been alive? I just happen to find good people in each arena and do it simultaneously. Whereas most people, one, aren't willing to take on that financial burden, and two, definitely aren't willing to do that amount of work.
Yeah.
But that's on you, not me. And I'm still outselling you. Ain't that sad?
Shout out to Kathy, man.
Like-
Kathy is probably, she's just elegant.
Well, not that,
know,
and like she's not, she very easily
Yeah,
could
she's
feel
dope.
some type of way about me coaching with somebody else for another arena, or you guys sitting in on our calls at no cost to you, right? Like, but she doesn't, bro. She's just a genuine good person. She wants to see us and help us do better. Like, bro,
Yeah,
my
she's-
dad died.
yeah.
She hit me up.
She's
You know what
dope.
I'm saying? Like,
Kathy's dope.
Like, I gave her flowers on Sunday this morning. So,
Oh, I gotta read that.
So even just because when I told her I was coaching with him, like, bro, there was no backlash. It was no hate. It was no shade. She's like, oh, well, what's he do? Let me look him up. Like, it was just super embracing. And boom, now I'm a published author with keynote speeches booked. And again, she's been super embracing. That's great for you. You're good at it. Boom, 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 boom. Like, it's hard to find people that are just that genuinely, like, she's at a point in her life where why would she hate on anybody?
Yeah.
She loves everybody. That's all she wants to do is help you do better. And that's been amazing too. But I put myself in position because I was patient and I took the risks, right? I spent the money. I put in the time. I executed. If you ask either one of my coaches, they will tell you, I'm sure undoubtedly, they'd be hard pressed to have met somebody else that executes at a higher level than me. Period. If I said I was going to fucking email you, you got to email. If you gave me homework, it's done. If you gave me a goal, it's been smashed, right? Like, she might be able to find one that I haven't delivered, and I know what it is, and I don't care because I was willing to sacrifice it. So that's my personal sales. Like, I had a goal that I'm not meeting, but I also met so many other goals that, like, I could give a shit less about that now. You know what I mean? Like, personal sales are so far down on my, like, priority list that I'll still be a top producer. I'm fine with that. That's okay. You know what I mean? Like, we lead over 300 people. I'm coaching in 2 different programs. I'm writing. I'm teaching. We're educating.
Is there now in the beginning of your book, you say, this is for the people that don't have a voice,
You want me to read it?
Yeah, it's cool.
It's the dedication. I know
yeah,
exactly
I
what you're
relate to
referring
it.
You're referring to the part right here. It says, this book is dedicated to my children, my wife, and everyone that ever supported me, my business partners, my coaches, and my mentors. Most of my mentors come from the Navy. So, if people hear my disdain for the Navy, but if you go to my house, bro,
Yeah,
you guys have
full
been
of plaques.
there.
Yeah,
My chief vessel is there. My multitude of awards are around. My coins are there. The American flag is flying. Like, so I don't want people to think like, man, I was Joe Navy when I was Navy, bro. Eric served with me twice, so like my boots were always shined. My uniform was always pressed. My fade was always tight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I came to work to do my job, do it at a high level, and be better than everyone.
Creased coveralls.
Crease coveralls, dog. With the locks boots.
Yeah, I had 'em.
Yeah, 100%. I know you did.
you
With the
guys.
custom whole belt buckle, with the hat, with my shit stitched on the back. Yeah, I did all that. I was very, serious about it.
Eric was at DRB.
But I eventually made it there. So, but the part you're talking about is it's also for all the underdogs, the forgotten ones that feel like life in the world is against them, the lonely kids with no parents, the foster kids, the orphans, the neglected, the abused. And that's the sentence that you're really referring to. And that sentence is simply me.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Was
Yeah, I'm happy that you pulled that out of there because that comes from my life that I lived. Like,
yeah. Because I was that kid also. Like, the parents aren't around. You have those school events, and it's like your uncle could be there for you, and you feel like shit. Like, nah, I ain't riding, playing with my uncle or somebody to, somebody around to represent that parent.
yeah.
It's a lonely world, right?
It's funny you say that because I posted the other day. When I drive to your house, I don't go on the highway. I take General Booth through the back way through the country. And there are some roads back there that are very long, very narrow, and very lonely. And the other day I was driving and I took a picture and I've been on this lonely road my whole life. You know, like my wife and my kids and you guys are the closest family I have, aside from Kim and my sisters, and they're in Ohio, and I can't go back there. You know,
Yep.
I'll visit, or you guys can come see me, but I can't run my life out of there because I owe my family more. And I'm not going to leave the place that I'm delivering that from until I retire. You know, because you battle with that too, man. Like, you think those people don't miss me? You think they don't look at me like they're proud and they want to be around me? They want to be a part of what I got going on, and I can't yet give that to them. That's why, honestly, that's why I need to go to the next level. My wife working a 19-hour double yesterday in 100-degree heat because she's a restaurant owner and her staff's down, and she's been doing that shit for 20 years. Like, I have a goal to retire my wife from that restaurant. I have a goal to send my kids to college. I have goals to eventually, hopefully one day, I can buy Kim a house that's paid off or help my sisters pay their houses off. Like, people think so fucking small. That's what's next for me. Where's my play, man? I see all these people out here getting paid for what? You ain't done shit. Your story sucks. You're just good at marketing. So let me sprinkle some marketing and some training and really cultivate the magnitude of all these relationships that we have, and let me do something great with my life. Because this is all cool, but I'm not great yet. That's how I feel. That's what's next. Greatness is fucking next.
Yeah, because I've always told you, you're not a coach. You're going to be that speaker, right? I've always seen that in you.
Yeah, I mean, they go hand in hand. I'm coaching now. And quite frankly, I'm pretty good at it.
Well, I see you past that, honestly. I mean, the coaching's cool.
I appreciate that, but I think that is part of it. I think they go together.
Yeah.
But my
like,
focus
what's
isn't
next?
my focus isn't really to coach one-on-one, though. You'd be right.
Yeah.
100% correct, actually.
It's part of the business now.
It is, but once someone decides to pay me as the keynote speaker that I am and will be, with the impact and delivery that I have and can provide, I would prefer to do that, man. Do you know who Tim Grover is? Tim Grover wrote Relentless. He coached Michael Jordan. He coached Kobe Bryant. So
that's why it sounds.
Yeah, Coach Burt says Tim Grover, he's an author and a speaker, but that's it. He doesn't run a coaching program. He doesn't do all this. Like, he goes and speaks and goes home. Like, at Milet, you know, he has his podcast, but really where he's getting paid, like, obviously all those sponsorships, but he gets paid for his speaking, man. You know, he does big gigs all around the country. He gets paid very well. I don't want to probably travel as much as some of them. Like, I'd rather be able to pick and choose my venues or what have you, but the position that we're in will allow me to do that. You know, I don't need to make $1 million a year speaking. I'd rather impact 1 million people. We make good money with everything we got going on. So, like, I want to be paid well, but that won't be my main focus.
Well, I was going to ask you, you made a post. Can you give away, you said you got a local speaking event?
Yeah. We'll throw it out there. So last year, I was invited to Secure the Bag conference where Dame Dash was a keynote, and my dad died.
That's right.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, yeah, it's crazy, and we're recording on the anniversary of it, right? But just yesterday, Tanita Brinkley, she reached out to me again, and I secured a spot, so I'll be a part of their conference this year. I'm just waiting on some details. When they put the flyer out, I'll put it out. And I'm excited about that just because I get to bring some cultural diversity to something where I'm actually super qualified to do so. You know, not just in business, but in life. You wouldn't typically see someone that looks like me in that crowd, and that's exactly why I want to be there, you know? And shout out to her for being super open to breaking the mold and not having a fear of kickback from anybody about, you know, allowing me to be there, because it's a predominantly African American event. So I'm honored, you know, to be asked to be there, because the urban or the tougher upbringing that we speak of that I've experienced is more prominent in their culture. And I would like to tap into that side because, I mean, they're more soulful people, man. They're more faithful people. I have a lot of life experience. I tell you guys all the time, I wish white people worked like Latinos. Like, damn. Like, bro, I've met a lot of people. You guys work. Like, you guys work. Like, I thought me and him had diseases. Like, but it takes that level of energy to go where you want to go in this life. Again, I'm thankful that she reached out. I said yes immediately. But I'm also really excited about San Antonio, man. The guy, Daniel Gomez, that published my book, he's actually a paid speaker, a publisher. Yeah. He called and gave me a 20-minute main stage keynote segment at his International Speaking Academy. I've already titled the talk. It's going to be called 20 to the Top because he gave me 20 minutes, and it's based on my 20 years of leadership experience. You know,
that's what I'm curious about. It's actually
when
watching
I start like
you
concocting speeches and shit.
Speech, yeah. What's the speech gonna be like?
So I don't know, man. I hope it's great. I think all my concepts are dope. You guys know that.
Well,
Do we get to critique you?
Sure, if you want, but then
Not
I'll ask
critique you, but like.
but then I'll ask you who's on stage.
Yeah, not to critique you, but like actually like
feedback.
Yeah, the feedback. That's the word I was looking like.
Well, see, the thing about somebody like me is I really don't give a fuck about everybody's feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I could have ran this book through 100 people and got 700 fucking recommendations. Matter of fact, I did get everybody's recommendation, and I still didn't listen, if you remember correctly. Like,
oh, the picture.
I will request feedback to a certain degree, but then there's a point where it's like, ultimately, it's my decision because I'm the one that has to deliver that talk. It's my reputation that's on the line, and fucking nobody is going to critique me the way that I'm going to critique myself. Nobody is going to be there when I'm preparing. Nobody is going to outwork me in that preparation. So, yeah, I'm super open to critique and ideas and stuff like that, but I also am a high-level executioner. And there's certain things that I won't let prevent the product from hitting
With the
street,
coaching, are you recording yourself, watching yourself? Like,
no, but Eric made a good point. Now that we have the Vibe board, I might, maybe run up to one of the offices and do my coaching calls from there so I can go live with them. I think that'd be fun. So I can actually teach them stuff in Rain or maybe pull up some emails or some things that I've done, marketing, whatever. It's just a very interactive way to do it versus just a phone call. I think that's kind of old school.
yeah.
But that also works. But I would like to video conference and maybe record it because I could also double down on media clips from that. I was in my bag yesterday on the coaching calls, and I was like, damn, this would have been nice to get some footage from, you know?
Yep.
But there's also some allure to not putting everything out there, right? You have to still be able to provide value when people pay to see you or pay to come get training from you or pay to read your book. I can't give you the whole book. You got to buy the book and read it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. There was a couple times where people were online man, I need my copy. And I had this talk with Edwin. I was like, what do they mean, bro? I'm not just going to give my book away. He's like, Mike, no.
Just hit him with the link.
Yes. And I did. And people are like, oh, I'm going to order mine today. But me, I'm from such a place where
hook me up.
people always want something
Hook me
from
up,
you.
yes.
You know what I mean? And Edwin was like, no, Mike, I think that they just want to buy your book. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Yeah, several times, and I was just like, I don't know, I didn't think that people would be so supportive or into it. At the event, when people lined up for me to sign books and take pictures, that felt like vanity to me. Almost why the fuck are you doing this? This is corny as fuck. But then when you embrace it and you're like, wait a minute, no, it's not. These people look up to me.
The first time
people follow me.
The first time I seen
I'm
that,
an example.
No, the first time I saw that was at the corporate Iron Valley event. You and me were walking through a hallway and somebody came up and was like, Mike, I wanted to meet you, this and that. I follow you. And I could tell.
It was just weird for me.
It was weird, yes.
And because I don't see myself like that. I see myself like the foster kid or the dude sleeping on Eric's couch that's going through a divorce or the Navy chief that lost it all because, whatever happened with my previous relationship and that chain of command and how it all went down. I don't see myself like other people see me. I see myself as a regular guy that gets up and goes to work every day. Aside from the fact that, I think I'm fucking great at everything I do, and I was born to be great, and I'm going to do something great with my life. That's why I coach with Michael Bird at the Greatness Factory. I want to be great at whatever it is I do. It doesn't matter if I'm an author, if I'm a real estate agent, if I'm in the fucking Navy. I don't care. I just want to be the best at whatever it is that I'm doing. So if you're going to give me a 20-minute keynote segment, I'm going to tear that shit up. And you gave me like 3 months to prepare. But the Navy put me in position for all of that, man, because you know what I did everywhere that I worked? I was the dog and pony show, bro. SOQ, SOY, every pay grade, every command. And when you're doing that so regularly, you just get so used to presenting, man. Like I was a stone cold killer, bro. The patience, the ability to answer questions, the eye contact, the answering the questions properly, the presentation, like I always won. The only time I didn't win, I got robbed, but I made chief first time up the next year. Like, you know what I mean? I did a triple hull swap on carriers. So there's a lot of politics, and you know this, senior chief, from like, I had just won Sailor of the Year for my department as a first class, right? I went up for of the year for the ship. Then an order mod comes across that I'm leaving. Do you think they gave it to me?
Absolutely not.
See what I'm saying? So
I already do that.
So I go right. So I go to the next command and I make chief first time up, just because the resume was already there. But as an airman, as a third class, as a second class, as a first class, me and all my people, sailor quarter, sailor of the year, every time, everywhere. Like it just. But what people don't understand about that is that's a game. That's your penmanship. That's points, right? So my penmanship and my author ability and my writing ability actually started with awards and evals in the Navy. My presentation skills and my ability to speak to a large crowd and not be bothered, it came from my time training other chiefs and senior chiefs and JOs and being a damage control training team lead for an entire repair locker on an aircraft carrier and being an enlisted section leader and a senior section leader. And like, think about that. A 26-year-old kid's in charge of a whole aircraft carrier. Like, that's insane. I did all those things.
So what you're saying is that the Navy did prepare you?
Yeah, 100%.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that half the people I served with weren't bitches.
Yeah.
It's just one situation.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like, listen, bro, when you're the 1% of the 10%, like, you know, there's a lot of trash in between that. But you learn that that's in every industry.
Correct.
That's not just the Navy. It's in life in general, man.
It's people.
It's the 80-20 rule, right? So, but when you're 17 to 26, 27, you don't fucking know. You're just like, this makes no sense. I'm outworking everybody. I come from nothing. Fuck you. I hate the world. That's how you feel when you're just outworking everybody and you're making the same paycheck, or you can't make rank, or people that aren't as qualified as you.
That's the shittiest
are
part.
Talking shit to you.
You
know
make
what I
the
mean?
same
Like,
money as the guy not doing shit.
Yeah, there's a ceiling, bro. I didn't want a ceiling. Yeah.
That's what, you know, I spoke to Mike about this the other day. I want to say that's what put me over the edge. You know, I've always strived to be the number one guy, but the number 100 guy got paid the same as me.
Yeah.
And I think that was, you know, that was kind of like what broke the, you know, camel's back type thing. And I was just like, I'm over it. And out here is kind of not at all.
It's not that at all.
Like,
No.
your effort reflects your paycheck.
Yep.
So, you know, I'm much at where I'm at in my life today, you know, because, and I sit back, man, should I have gone out the Navy? I would probably say no, just because I wasn't ready, right? I still had young kids. I needed a first and 15th paycheck. Like, that was the most important thing. I needed health care. Like, all of these things, like, at the time that I served was the right time for me. And even my transition after 23 years, people say, why'd you do a day after 20? Well, I did a day after 20 because I was scared. You know, that's the truth. You know, yeah. I was terrified. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know this group of people. I didn't know y'all.
Well,
right? I
mean, we didn't know yet either. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we walked away after 14 years, like, we got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, but everything happens for a reason, and everything happens on time, man. What if I didn't go through that stuff with the Navy? Like, I would still be in probably today. What? Have you, like, bro, I've been out for 5 years. Look at what we've done. When I got out, first of all, I left with an honorable and I could have re-enlisted.
Yeah.
I chose to leave. And people was like, "Oh, you're crazy." I'm crazy. You just demoted me with no evidence, violated my constitutional rights, which I do have receipts of in case, you guys want to talk shit. It's in my closet. Temperature controlled so it doesn't wither.
You need a fireproof safe too.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're lacking.
But I tell people you're built to endure shit. Like as fucked up as it sounds, right? I don't think there's gonna be
what a gift to have.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think there's gonna be, what can top your childhood, bro? Like seriously, what can top your nothing? In my mind, there's nothing that you can experience that's gonna top what you endured as a young child. So nothing that you're gonna experience as an adult is gonna break Mike Little.
Yeah. Well, so that's honestly, man, that's next is telling the whole story in a real story, and one that's not just, the board of directors for Hurrah or the principal broker of Iron Valley or whatever people are looking at me as, the author of this fucking book or whatever it is. Like, no, I'm a normal human just like you. I've just been through a lot of shit, and I had to process all of it, and I had to become better. And it just so happened that has resulted in where we are today. Anybody can do it. You got to make a conscious effort and choice to do it. On my way here, I was listening to Jim Rohn. Yeah. like you know what I mean? I'm not. You become what you take in, man. So I just shifted that. I also have a better partner in my life. It's a lot. There's a lot of different things.
Definitely seen the change since Evie has come in your life. 100%.
Well, a lot of people say that, and Evie asks me regularly, "Babe, why do they say that?" Because the person that she knows hasn't changed. So it's really my perception that has changed. The perception of me to other humans has changed because of her presence. I have not changed. I've been amplified.
Which is change, right?
Change is like you became a different person. Amplification is shining light on who you truly are. Two completely different things. Because she allows me to be passionate. She allows me to work hard. She embraces who I am fully and truly, so I don't have to fucking hide myself, which in turn would make you very angry and very irritable. And then also, you guys came into play when I was in the middle of kicking a partner. Like, bro, getting Chris out of the company started way before that was on y'all's radar. You have to understand that. Like I was preparing for that the year before when I went and got my broker's license. You think I just went and got my broker's license for fucking funsies? No, man. I went because I could see the future, and me and this man would have conversations, and we knew there's no way this thing's going to survive. And by the time I got the call to come back here, and we were all like gangland removing this motherfucker, so much had already gone into that. That was the original reason I went and opened a Chesapeake office, to distance myself from Chris Hamilton. And then Eric's like, "Hey, man, he's really fumbling the bag now." Well, that's not good. And then you guys step up, you're top producing team leads, and we're like, well, we cannot let Chris crumble this company, right?
I like hanging out with winos.
So, but I'm just saying, there's so many different decisions, but that also goes back to patience and position.
Yeah.
That was a culmination of everything that we knew was already taking place. It didn't just happen.
Yeah, at that point, I mean, even the partners, you guys are seeing that, but it's already out in the public, right? It was not good.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why it had to be fixed.
Hell yeah.
So, in this future film, I want to know who's going to play Edgar Munoz. In your mind, if you could pick an actor.
So check it out. It was going to be the guy that played Debo, but rest in peace. He passed away.
Yeah.
So now I just want a Mexican Shrek.
Mexican Shrek.
It's only because I love you.
Look,
bro,
in my mind,
you would be a seed of that Shrek, bro.
I'm good with that. In my mind,
definitely hiring Pitbull to play you.
In my mind, I already thought this out. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Eric Edwards is Ben Affleck.
That's good. I was gonna say Bradley Cooper, right?
Nah, Ben Affleck.
You know,
played
Ben
Ben Affleck.
Affleck.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Marky Mark for you,
Oh shit.
right? I was
from
gonna
Boston.
say you facts, and that's where you started.
Marky Mark.
Yeah.
I would say the Mexican wrestler, man. That's in everything.
What?
Batista,
Batista? Dave Batista's Mexican?
100%. Batista.
He's a big guy.
You know what I mean? He's a big
And
guy,
he's bald.
and he's bald. And then everybody says Pitbull for me, right? Like, I just don't think he's available for a movie. But
Yeah. But really, man.
Out of all those people we named, you think Pitbull's not available?
Yeah, right.
yeah, right.
He'll be here in like a month.
You know, speaking of Marky Mark, though, you know, he's like a producer and a
Yeah.
like all
Everything.
that. Like,
Yeah, he
listen,
did everything.
man,
That guy did everything.
you know, that would be cool, one, but two, part of that plan that is in place that I intend on executing is a biopic, a short film. Like, this guy wants to go to Boston and Dayton, Ohio and Naval Station Norfolk and like put it together and pitch it, kind of thing.
That would be cool.
So
That'd be cool.
you know, I don't personally want to be an actor, but if you want to sell my story and give me royalties, I'm open to it. You know what I mean? Like, but I personally, I would like to speak and continue to publish books. Like the From the Bottom thing, like, yeah, it'd be cool to get a deal, but like, it'd be even more cool if kids in the inner city or group homes or the penitentiary are reading this biopic and understand what I come from and where I am, and hopefully that gives them hope. That's what I really want to do. Like, if you watch the Sylvester Stallone documentary, at the end of it, he says something that just resonated with me. He said, "I'm a hope dealer." And I'm like, fuck, bro. I come from dope dealers, but I'm a hope dealer. Like, in my head, that stuck with me, like, because his story, people don't know, that is a true self-made man. Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, these guys really come from nothing, really created everything they have. Like, Sylvester Stallone pitched his movie, I think it was like 50 times in the 70s, bro. Everybody told him no. You know what he did? He went and wrote and produced it himself, and it became one of the greatest movie series of all time in the history of Everdom. And now there's another one called Creed, and that, like, just those two things. And then he threw Rambo in between. Did you know that he wrote all of those?
I did not.
Those are his screenplays. You don't want to give me a job? I'll make my own. Incredible.
Dope.
So, like, that, and then in that documentary, he's sitting in his mansion on the West Coast, and him and his family have decided to move back to the East Coast. And he's in this, I mean, it's an estate. This isn't like,
Yeah, it's not
you
a
know,
mansion. Yeah.
like some people call my house a mansion. No. This dude's crib, next level. But he's standing in this house and he tells the guy on the camera, this house means nothing because it's empty. I'm the only one standing in it, and that's why I'm leaving to go meet my family. I want to be with my wife and kids. No amount of money in the world can replace that. This house means nothing. Like, in his mid-70s, after he's accomplished everything you could possibly accomplish in life. None of it fucking mattered. Imagine that. And the only thing he cared about is that he gave other people hope, inspiration. You can do it. I did it. You know, that's all I want, man. Like, what else? Like, what else matters? When I fucking die, if people can say that guy changed my life, to me, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, so thanks again for listening in today. I'm sure you got a couple nuggets from Mike. He's passionate every day. Please make sure to purchase the book and also subscribe at the link below.
Yeah, Conquer the Summit of Life. Where can we get it?
Well, you can get it on Amazon. There's a paperback. There's a Kindle version. You can download it. But there's still Stripe. Like, there's like 50 copies left that you get a signed one. So
Nice.
you can go to the pre-sale link, and still there's like 50 copies remaining that I'll sign and ship to you personally. Yeah,
Link will be below.
appreciate it.
Tune in
Thank
next
you.
week.
All right.